today was day one of Kennedy and I showing at the horse show. Tomorrow is the Roan World Show. So here is our first pleasure classes today. We showed in the level 1 and the amateur, and technically we went in the senior, but we schooled. So this is Kennedy and I's third show together, and I'm pleased to announce I believe we keep getting better and better. Now, not to say that we were perfect and we don't have things to work on, because there are, and I'll show you. So I did speed this clip up because it just shows how many horses were in our class. It was a really big class. And you remember that thing that I said we need to work on? So I went to go lope Kennedy off. First thing, who knows? Maybe she wanted to smell the chairs. Maybe she was being nosy, but her whole head went over the railing. And one of the judges for sure saw. And to recover from that, I just kind of picked my hand up and got her back with me. You know, it just felt like we were a little bit out of sync when we first loped off. And then she really locked in. I think she was the most in my feet, if that makes sense, out of all of the rides that we've ever had. So I feel like there are pieces to our partnership that keep getting better every single time that we ride. But the one thing we had to overcome in this class was that traffic was much different than what we had previously shown in. So it was a bigger class, meaning there were more participants, and we were kind of in a cluster at one point. You can see how many riders are in one spot on the rail. And so you'll see here when we lope off that I just made the decision that it was best for Kennedy to get off of the rail. And that's what's so important in a rail class when you're trying to exhibit your horse's movement and you are trying to be aware of your surroundings. You have to look at what's going on around you while also paying attention to your horse and make the best decision as to what path you need to be on. Now, it is ideal to be on the rail, and I wish that I could have maybe gotten off the rail and then found a better spot, but it just never happened. It just never became available for me to get back on the rail. And so we just stayed off of it. And I think that was a really good test run. Maybe test run is the word, because, we have some big shows coming up, Kennedy and I, and there's the chance that I'm going to need to pull her off the rail. So I'm glad it happened for that reason, just for the practice. We ended up second, sixth in the level 1 amateur Western Pleasure. And then we went into the amateur, and I won't make you watch quite as much of it. You can see that first lope off in this class was just a little leaky, I would call it, but then she really settled in and was softer in the amateur versus the level 1 amateur. I felt like we were a lot more in sync together in this class, which just makes sense. It was the second class of the day. We were just a little bit more warmed up. I did speed up her reverse, so that's not her real walk pace. But one of the things that we are working on right now with Kennedy is her walk, because like a lot of rail horses, she tends to anticipate what's coming next. And so she wants to either jog off or lope off during the walk of the second direction. And so even though we had a fantastic amateur class and we were second across the board in a really, really nice class of horses, congratulations to my friend Kate, who beat me the entire time. You suck. Anyway, we had a great run. And even though I was very happy with it and think it was possibly our best ride yet, Stephanie looked at me from over the railing and was like, go back into the senior. You need to go school. And so what that means is, a lot of you have asked for me to explain what schooling is. We go into a class purposefully training. So you'll see here I stopped and backed her up because the second direction of the senior class, I decided I was just going to walk for a long, long time and make her walk. Now, it's important when you school that you don't mess up anybody else's ride, So I did need to lope her off. I wish I could have walked her the whole time, but I did need to lope her off just to continue on with traffic. I did kind of motion on to the person behind me when I first did it to pass me. So I think it was really productive. We made her walk. And then the one thing that I didn't love was that from the extended trot, they had a stop, and she just was really leaky out of her stop. Like, she would kind of stop and then just keep going forward. And so I just, I realized that no one was around me. I had already two-handed a couple of times in the class, so I was disqualified. So I just went ahead and kept trotting her off and making her stop with my feet. And then, I did kind of pick with my hands a little bit more in this class, just because I went into it knowing that I was schooling. But other than that, what a fantastic day. A great day horse showing with friends and lots of improvement. So stay tuned.